Recording.
Come here, big tits. Come here, big tits. Your tits belong to me. Give them to me. I want to claim my tits. I want to claim my tits. I want to claim my tits. These are my tits. Rudy Giuliani, March 12th, 2019. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Sober Swole Podcast. My name is Jake Howard.
And I go by DJ Swirl.
Chocolate and vanilla swirl.
What's up, everybody?
And before we get really into things, I'd love to get a shout out to Royalty Nutrition. That's royaltynutrition.com. And to help me out with that, as always, here he is, ladies and gentlemen, Warhorse.
Hey, it's Warhorse. Do you want your workouts to look like this? Or do you want your workouts to slay? When Warhorse picks his pre-workout, he wants it to slay. If you want second place, go with somebody else. If you want to be a champion, go with Royalty Nutrition.
That's right. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. Royalty Nutrition is a veteran-owned and operated supplement company that doesn't automatically go to using the cheapest ingredients possible while making their supplements to help you meet your fitness goals. Check them out and use the discount code 37HAKE to save you 15% on your entire order. My next shout out of the evening will be to Gorilla Gains. That's Gorilla-Gains with the Z.com. They are a fitness apparel company that you can wear comfortably in and out of the gym. They also make great equipment that helps keep you safe while you train. Check them out and use the discount code Jake15 for 15% off there as well. Goodness gracious. All right, patreon.com/HateJoward. That is my personal Patreon page where I post training programs that I've written for people over the past. I do blog type entries, and I also do a solo podcast once a month where I speak my mind on something that has piqued my interest. Usually in the fitness industry, most definitely in the fitness industry. Check that out. Help support me as we try to make life better. DJ Swirl, tell them about that buy-to-buy empire.
Yes, Buy to Buy at BUYTOBYE, where we specialize in fast, friendly, on-demand moving, staging, delivery, TV mounting, and assembly, where we help everyone from housewives shopping at Home Goods to bros DIYing it at Lowe's, but most frequently property managers and real estate agents moving their clients from their current space to their new place. They say teamwork makes the dream work, but what about that nightmare? From your landlord to your dashboard, sometimes life don't play fair. If you lack time or got a bad spine, we're here to support you, giving peace of mind from the time you buy until we say goodbye. What you see here is Buy to Buy Studios. We do creative consulting and content creation, helping boutique brands boost their presence online. Everything from posts, reels, stories, all the way to podcasts and live streaming. Help you out from the beginning as a consultant, helping you find a creative way to get pen to paper, or if you've already got something that's going, but you want to make it better, hit us up. And if you've got something that's already final and you just need to put the finishing touches, we'd handle post-production work as well. That's Buy to Buy Studios. Find us everywhere you are at BUYTOBYE. Jake, what are we talking about tonight?
Man, we have a wide array of subjects to talk on this evening. I opened the show up tonight with a quote from America's mayor, Rudy Giuliani. And so he is currently on trial for sexual abuse, pretty much, sexual harassment and other heinous things that you don't want to imagine an old man doing. But he denies it all, calls it all frivolous. Anyway, so that's Giuliani news. We're going to touch on the twice impeached, thrice indicted, one-time President Donald J. Trump. I have a rooster in a cage in my office.
Is my rich in a box?
It's my rich in a box. That's it.
Sorry about that
And
laughing.
we're gonna talk morals around the Screen Actors Guild and the Screenwriters Guild strike.
Yes. Do you have a?
Because no one participates in our freaking doggone answer box questions on Instagram.
I don't have a boo on here. I gotta add that.
Boo.
So
Boo.
that's appropriate. So, where do you have a place you want to start? Because Giuliani is just like, this is the 2023 version of Grab 'em by the pussy, right? And so it's like
Yeah.
more of what we are. Creepy old man doing creepy old stuff.
Dude, did you read the article I sent you?
I did not.
So is apparently this woman worked for Rudy Giuliani from 2019 to 2021, I believe.
Okay.
Miss Noelle Dunphy, and she's suing him for $10 million.
Heyo.
And she alleged Giuliani forced her to have oral sex and intercourse with him, in addition to making sexist, racist, drunken, and anti-Semitic remarks when she worked for him. She also revealed that she recorded some of their interactions.
Illegally. They left that part out?
Yeah.
I mean, because depending on the state, you can't record without their consent.
Right.
So most of that should be inadmissible. So
I mean, this is a Daily Beast article, so they have a heavy left tilt.
Sure.
But yeah, so the title of this article is "Come Here, Big Tits." Rudy Giuliani's sex abuse accuser has the tapes, and then the what's it called? The subtitle is "My Fucking Slut" by Isabella Ramirez, breaking news intern.
So, do they have the audio?
Not on here.
Okay. So we've not heard him actually say it, but we have the transcript of what was said, and it's yikes.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
So does this ring a bell to you? Because to me it sounds like Donald Sterling. Do you remember that?
Yes.
Speaking of Donalds.
Yes. Yeah.
So Donald Sterling lost the Los Angeles Clippers franchise?
I believe it was.
Was
I think
forced
so.
to make a couple billion, hard pause, a couple of $1 billion after being canceled, after his intern, his slash side piece,
Girlfriend.
yeah, recorded him and blah blah blah. So he went down for the same kind of thing. In his bubble up until that point, I didn't know his name until that story broke. So I might have seen his face or I might have heard that name just because I watch basketball, but I had no idea. But everybody knows who Giuliani is for obvious reasons. But like the slippery slope on this guy.
Yeah.
I mean, to go from 9/11 to where he's at now, it's crazy to see his behavior and see how much it's gone off the rails.
So I'm going to say something I'm okay. So I'm not agreeing with him by any means at all when I say this. Okay, so I just need to make this very clear.
Hold on, who are you talking about? Let's specify.
Rudy Giuliani.
You don't disagree with what?
No, I don't agree with him.
Okay, you don't agree with
I
what?
don't agree. I don't agree with his fall from grace and the things that he's done and said and whatever. But imagine you're a district attorney, prosecuting attorney that's responsible. One of the main reasons of being responsible for bringing down the mafia in New York. Okay, so you're mega famous for that.
Which
then you get
30 years ago, 40 years ago.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then you get elected. Then you get elected mayor of New York City. Then the largest attack on American soil since Pearl Harbor happens in your city.
And what did he do?
He just rallied the people.
Right. And no specificity.
Yeah.
He's given a label because he was in a position and didn't fold like a lawn chair. Okay, just
Right.
making sure that
You are labeled America's mayor. You're basically, no matter your picadillos, you're king dingaling. You're untouchable. You're on top. Everyone loves you. How could you not let any of that shit go to your head? You know what I mean?
the
Like that
same
level of
the same way anyone complains about any sports athlete who gets a mega contract and then has behavior that is not relatable by the peons who pay to watch.
right. I saw I can't remember which comedian was saying it, but it was during the Tiger Woods picadillo when he got caught cheating on his wife or whatever,
Okay.
and it was like, well, yeah, no shit. Like, I, I, I didn't get the. I understand the anger and rage, but I was like, it's also like he's a multimillionaire. That how did you not see that coming? Kind of thing. Like, I don't know. I'm
That
not justifying anything, but it's like,
you're not. However, you're towing the line. You're towing the line. Because why would you have his name in your mouth at all? Like, why would he matter? Is it his stature? Is it his money? It's all of these things that are elite status wise when people have their own problems or someone that you know has is a Rolling Stone and so has multiple families or whatever, right? Like that's not exclusive to Tiger Woods or that class, that elite
mhm,
athlete, legend, all that stuff. Like again, I understand the temptation is magnified by 100 million%. So the opportunities for him to fail are astronomical. So yeah, so it's very understandable that he could make a mistake, or that he could,
mhm,
or that he becomes habitual, which it sounds like it was. So it's like he is in an ecosystem to where everyone around him supports him. So just like
right,
Giuliani, everyone around him was supporting the high of 9/11 and then whatever comes after that. So, you know, people who are people who lack discipline are the easiest for that to be the case, right? And
mhm,
so, regardless if Tiger was Tiger or if Giuliani was Giuliani, they would still have the same behavior pattern. It would just be with the people at your office building. You know what I mean? Like it would be somebody who lives down the block from you. It wouldn't be this person who you have zero access to outside of their stardom. So Giuliani was gonna be a shit person, and then that's just like people who win the lottery. If you have no money and you're a shit person, you get a bunch of money. You're not a you don't become a philanthropist. You're just a shit person with money, and so now you feel entitled. Your entitlement goes through
yep,
the. So what you're saying, completely understand. You have a level of entitlement that you think you can get away with things, but in terms of morality, if you that's something you shouldn't get away with in the first place, you should not
right,
do it anyway.
right,
So the fact that we toe a line and we say, I understand why that's a possibility. Yeah, that's how the lottery works. We understand it's a possibility you could win. So we all play at one time or another when it got super high. I don't know anybody who hasn't done that. And if they haven't, they are the exception because we're all trying to accomplish that. We're all trying to relieve the stresses that money plays into our society. So when people like Giuliani and Tiger have all of the entitlement, but they have the funds to be smart about it and maintain their privacy and they slip up, that's what I don't understand. I don't have the money to build a team around me, a PR team that will make up for my mistakes, that
right,
will help me not get canceled. They have teams of people whose life is dependent upon making sure that their boss or this person comes off in a good light,
right.
right? Or at least in a light that's not detrimental to their revenue stream. And that's all this man has done for the last 20 years. And it's now the peak of it is we're seeing it play out now. And so that behavior, that disgusting, that, and I don't want to kink shame. Let me be very clear.
Ooh.
I don't want to kink shame. You can be into your thing, and you can, and if the consent is there, then fly your flag. However, if someone comes forth and has these transcripts and has all this stuff, and you don't have a pattern of talking to people like that on a normal basis, or it's not your profession, problematic. So whether they're celebrity, whether they're elevated in the public sphere because of a celebrity or because of their proximity to whatever, like that behavior, we have to set up, we have to draw a line, and we shouldn't toe it. We should step back and say, nah, that's the line. That's unacceptable. Because as parents, imagine someone Giulianiing one of our kids. Imagine you getting a text thread and that's what they send you, and it's with your daughter, bro. Just imagine that. You don't have
That
to.
would be
You can't
that
relate to.
motherfucker would be going to court.
Yeah,
I would.
you just like you started to show out last week. You're you are operating on a different frequency, dog. So it doesn't matter your status. It doesn't matter how elite. What all that. Those are semantics. It all boils down to the basic behavior of infidelity, of temptation, and then once you're in a position of power, leveraging that so you can be freaky, like Epstein, like all the people in Hollywood, like all the people who use their position of power in order to be weird when they can't every other time. So,
Well, let's specify too. There's kinks, and there's being weird with consent, and then there's outright rapists, and they should be dragged behind horses on rocky roads until they're dead.
I mean, the how, we can disagree on the how. But
Well, you have a more brutal way to kill rapists?
But the
Go
what?
on.
No. I mean, I watched Squid Game. That was pretty brutal. I'm pretty sure if we devised a way to make pedophiles compete for their,
Shut your bitch ass, George.
we started the show, and the label of the show, the thumbnail is a rooster.
It's
Did we even
George
talk
the
about?
Cage.
Did we talk about this at all? Yeah.
Yeah, I said I had a rooster in the cage.
Okay, well, we just talked about it. Anyway, yeah.
Yeah.
So the title of the show is My Rich in a Box. He has a cock in a cage near him, and so we started to talk about what we were going to discuss tonight, and out of nowhere, cock a little just in the background. So,
Yeah.
so that was that's part of what we were going to discuss as well.
I guess trigger warning. There probably will be a rooster call at some point in time during the show.
Is that a triggering thing?
I don't know. I mean, it's a loud noise. So if you're sensory sensitive,
Okay,
I
auditory.
can see where all of a sudden a loud rooster screaming at you would kind of cause a.
Okay, so please give the people context on why you have a dick in a box.
I like the pause. I like the pause. So, so I talked about last week how I had to go and dispatch a rooster. So before I dispatched that rooster was fighting with hens and another bird, and I went over there, and Kayla said, "I think you need to take this one home. It might be a rooster." And I was like, "Kayla, I've gendered all of these. I've checked for penises on all of these fucking things. This one doesn't have a dick, but whatever. I'll take it home." I bring this thing home, and within a day, its color starts to change. He gets his rooster tail. Freaking starts growing the top thing in the goblet, and then early in the mornings, and when the sun goes down, it starts. And shoot! So I've had this thing for 2 weeks. George, dude,
Perfect.
I've had this thing for about 2 weeks, and yeah. I'm not supposed to have him within a residential space. He's laughing at me. What's going on?
Here's his name.
Yeah. So I'm not supposed to have him in a residential space. So I'm trying to hide him until I can either find a place for him to go or find a place for him to go. because this is the chillest rooster ever. I'll pull him out later. He'll just sit on my arm. He's real chill. But
That's gonna sound hilarious with no context.
yeah.
Ooh.
Check out my cock on my arm. What
So-
time is it?
Okay. So you said that he's not allowed in residential spaces.
Right.
So city ordinance states that you can't have them because of noise.
Pretty much, yeah.
So that's
then,
that's city on its own, and then you have the HOA for your community, correct?
Right. And I also have the neighbor that's like, why are your dogs loud
Oh,
after
your-
7:30?
God, I forgot
Fucking bullshit!
Captain. Oh man, I forgot about that guy. So
Yeah, they haven't been back over since I just quit answering the door. So
okay. So what about the HOA? Have they been reaching out?
no, this is a preemptive move on my part,
Okay.
but yeah, man, I just don't.
You've not gotten any complaints from anyone else.
Mm-mm.
Okay. I mean, you live out in an area where that noise shouldn't be unfamiliar.
Right, technically,
With the standards of them trying to elevate the communities and
I live next to a golf course, and
right. So yeah.
well, I don't know how this community is going to get elevated. There sure seems to be a lot of not so white children playing basketball at all hours over here at the basketball court, and I mean everyone's welcome, but
someone's not holding the line.
dude, I can guarantee there's some pissed off fucking people. Well, sure, you can come play golf, but you can't come in the country club.
Right.
Shit
So-
like that. Like,
So the rooster hasn't been an official problem, but you are.
no,
But you are. So is he considered contraband at this point?
pretty much.
Okay. So you know that you have to either. I don't know. Is there a situation where you
So-
can remove his vocal cords?
Well, there's these like there's rooster collars that are supposedly supposed to help
Chokers?
with no, it's just a collar. It doesn't choke,
But it
but
doesn't
like
allow them to expand enough to make the noise, though, right?
yeah, that feels cruel as fuck. You know what I mean? That feels cruel as fuck. Like anyway, here's my nature. Here's something that I have. Here's something I have to do via my DNA.
Oh man,
You know?
alive. Yeah. Okay,
So it's like,
make him be quiet. So it's either you get rid of him or you eat him.
yeah, I tried eating that leghorn, man. It was gross. So I don't know if I'm gonna eat George.
Yeah, that one died under duress. So
That one was the most hardcore motherfucker.
Yeah.
I mean, I gotta give shout out to that rooster. He was
Oh,
a
man,
fucking
R.I.P.
hard nosed son of a bitch,
damn.
refusing to die, motherfuckers.
Oof.
No, here, pull up just your camera real quick. We might as well just get him out.
Here comes the cock, ladies and gentlemen. Everyone. So yeah, we started this off talking about
Here,
Giuliani,
George.
and then parlaying obviously into the behavior that's touched in Hollywood. So yeah,
Whoa.
yeah, let's see what this is gonna get.
Here you go, buddy.
Here it is.
Yeah. This is George, everybody.
So prior to how long ago could you not discern?
But look how big this fucking bird is, dude.
Yeah, massive.
Just huge.
And so not too long ago you couldn't tell the gender. Or you
Yeah.
could, or you just thought it was a female.
Oh yeah, no, like I checked and checked and checked, and it was just like no dick, nothing. And it just must have been like he must be just like a late bloomer or something. You know what I mean? But yeah, like you see how he just sits.
Yeah, he's chill. I
Yeah,
think
this is
he realizes he's on camera.
yeah.
We see you, George.
You want back in your hole? Huh?
I think
You're
George.
gonna be all right. I
I
promise.
think George understands his leverage in the situation. He knows he's not supposed to be there.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna be me till
No,
I'm
but
not.
like he's all of a sudden it was all of a sudden because he was just the same size as all the hens. And then I brought him out here, and it was within like 2 days. He just started getting massive. Like if he's sitting on my hand right now. If this fucker was to stand up, he is tall. He's about 2.5 feet tall, and he's like just his body is probably about 13, 14 inches long.
Do you let
Not
him run
counting his.
kids and stuff? No problem.
Hell yeah, no. Ruth goes up and picks him up all the time.
Dope.
This is the chillest rooster I've ever seen. Like doesn't attack, doesn't peck, just chills. He's just a loud motherfucker, huh?
What's up, George?
Yeah, man. This is my George. All right, you want to go to bed? Yeah, come on. Yeah.
Oh man, we've got night. Don't know how long he's gonna be around.
Yeah, hopefully I can find somebody that's needing a rooster. But,
How far out do you have to go to be outside of city limits where you're at? Or is the red line just like a big fucking surface area like Mesa?
dude, it's like 15 minutes and I'm already into the open desert pretty much.
Right.
I mean, if push comes to shove, coyotes got to eat. Out in the desert you go. But
You just drop him off.
I don't want to.
Yourself? Damn.
Yeah, but like I don't want to kill this dude. I do not want to kill this rooster. This is the coolest goddamn rooster I've ever seen. Like, so there's a little one out there now at the farm, and Brittany named him David Rose after David from Schitt's Creek.
Okay.
The son. Brittany loved that show. I saw a couple episodes, got a couple chuckles out of me, but it wasn't like I need to sit down and watch the whole thing.
Knee slapper. Gotcha.
Yeah, but so she's got so she named that little is white and black. He's real cool looking. And then she named one Alexis too. But that little rooster is a shit. He's only about this big. Like, so we just saw George. George was this big. This thing is this big. And that little fuck will sneak up and just hit you with his talons. Like, ooh, I've kicked that thing across the run so many times. Trying to establish dominance on me.
In your house. Or it stays outside. Is George?
Oh, he stays outside. Oh, George. Yeah, George is. So that rooster is at the big farm.
Okay.
George used to be at the big farm too, but he had to. Yeah. But anyway, I told you that. So we have one that has. It looks like he's wearing pants. He's got feathers all the way down to like the tips of his feet.
Yeah.
And that's pants. It looks like he's wearing pants. And I told you, like after the leghorn died, like took its last breath, it immediately. And then he immediately started like the next day was already starting to grow his shit.
Yeah.
And like nature wild, man. Nature's wild.
So was George around when the last one was running things?
The reason why I have George is because the last one was trying to run him out of the life.
Oh, George is the one. Yeah, George pulled a move, man. George got his competition X'd out and is now staying inside.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then during the day he kicks it with a duck that leaves him alone. Like
George hustle is strong. Respect.
No, you hear him over here?
Yeah.
He's acknowledging.
Yeah.
I know.
Respect.
I know.
So before we got started with this, I had to let Jake know I got an email this morning from Acast, which is they host the podcast. Sober Swole, is it hosted there exclusively now?
So Man, I don't know how Danny had it set up. I don't know if the new episodes are getting up there or not.
Oh, you haven't checked?
I have no clue. Yeah.
Oh, very cool. All right. Well,
Yeah.
I'm on Acast because of so. But again, I set it up for Truths and Ladders just so it was up there. Blah 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 blah. Haven't really messed with it. Got an email this morning from Acast talking about voiceover work and um just if I was interested, gave me some details. I was like, sure, why not? So I put in the I started filling out the application, and unsurprisingly, there's a section where it's like you have to do a voiceover clip, and so I took the time, and within 30 minutes, I think I got. and and so I sent it in, and whether I'll hear back on that, we'll see. But I told Jake about it before we started recording, and he's like, "Oh, they must need voiceover work because of all the strikes going on." And I was immediately just like, hadn't even crossed my mind. Just saw the opportunity and put it in for the sake of the opportunity. That was it. So the fact that that was your first thought made me smile, and I was just like, "Ooh." And then I had that reaction, and then what was your reaction right after that?
Fuck it, let's go.
No moral conundrum whatsoever. He's like, I'm not in Hollywood. I'm not part of the guild.
No,
So,
I got 6 kids. Like, they need some temporary voices to do some shit. Hit me the
right.
fuck up.
And I was just looking at like my finances and setting up, the goals for the rest of this year and heading into next year. And I was looking at like, how much money you want to make a day, how much money that turns into a day in order for you to make a certain amount at the end of the year, right? So just
Yep.
work out your salary. And so $200, like $300, like if you want to make 600, if you want to make 6 figures, you should try to make $300 a day. And so doing this kind of voiceover work would facilitate that kind of income. And so it's just like, I'm not sure how often it would be, but if it turned into something to where I was just able to do that where I'm at, it's exactly the kind of thing I want to do on the side because I can do it sporadically or consistently and, for short spurts of time. And so have no idea what this means, but if it turns into an opportunity, fantastic. If not, in terms of morals though, like I didn't even know the guild covered voice actors and all of that, but like you said, I don't have like a moral obligation either way, so I don't really feel bad even looking into it or entertaining it. But it was interesting that you brought it up, and I said, thank you for bringing that up because it's interesting to hear that your take.
Well, the thing was said, it was like by any of it was, Fran Drescher's the president of the Screen Actors Guild now. And it was, I think she said, if any actor crosses the line during this strike, there's no chance that they'll be accepted into the Screen Actors Guild when the strike's over.
Right.
And that does not matter to me. I wasn't a fan of being in a union when I was in one, and with the way my family's set up now, I'll take the job.
Right. And you were talking about that. So in terms of like supporting shows and just watching whatever you're going to watch, there's no conundrum for you there either because you're just going to watch whatever you want to watch, right?
Yeah, I mean, I've always been, it's, your freedom of association, right? If I want to watch this, I'm going to watch it. If I don't want to watch it, why would I give it my money and time? Like, and then that's not going against what these people are striking against either. I need to make that clear. I agree with them for them, like when it comes to the AI body scans and using your likeness in perpetuity, how they're getting screwed out of royalties with streaming companies changing their name. Because I think what a lot is going to come out is I think a lot of the streaming services are losing their asses.
But I don't think they are because of what you just said. You said you're going to watch what you're going to watch. So people.
Oh no, but like, so the cost of production, the cost of paying your actors, and the cost of everything. You're at best, a lot of these streaming services might be breaking even. Like
No, man.
at best.
I
I'm
drove
saying at
I was out there, and it didn't look like they were breaking even. Their facility did not look like break even money. They look like they're doing well off money. So,
oh yeah, I mean
but
there's been nest eggs upon nest eggs built, and of course they've
what I'm talking about is the fact that you will continue to support the streaming services in light of the strike. One, because the people striking are themselves not telling you to stop watching things, which to me sounds like a mistake. But you said that you'll still rent, you'll go to a you said that you'll still watch what you want to watch for the sake of you wanting to watch it. So I can't agree with the sentiment that they're losing hand over fist if everybody feels like you, they'll still watch it because it's not disrupting their revenue stream. You're a subscriber, you're still paying a monthly fee for their thing, so nothing is changing on their end. Same thing with me, same thing with anyone else who feels the type of way about whatever in terms of the subscriptions that they have signed up for, because that's the important thing, right? We've all signed up for it. So in any with terms of anything, you have to put your money where your mouth is. So I'm not going to go see Barbie. I'm not going to go see Oppenheimer. I'm not going to go see anything in the theater because that's how they maximize the return on their investment. I'll catch it when it's. You can't hear me?
oh, I got you now.
Okay. It's like I'll catch it. So like you said, I'm going to watch it, but I'll watch it on my terms. So I'll watch it once it becomes a part of something I'm already paying for. So I'm not going to pay additional money. So like the same thing happened with the NFL. I used to get all the packages. I used to be very involved with it, invested outside of just watching it. Now I just watch whatever is part of what I already have going on and I make amends otherwise because I'm not going to supplement them on the back end of Kaepernick, which I also saw another article about Kaepernick today, which all NFL teams came out and said that there is no way that Kaepernick will wind up on a roster, even with health concerns of other quarterbacks going down throughout the year. They said that out the gate, and they went out of their way to include Tom Brady in that same message. They were like, Tom isn't coming back. He's retired. Kaepernick, under no circumstance, will represent any team. I was like, yo, and he's anyway. So yeah, it's that same principle, right? To where I'm not going to put any additional funds to where they're at because that's how they ultimately get paid, right? Trickle down economics. The people who are on the picket lines who are not getting paid well wind up having to work for these conglomerates just to have a job. So in the sentiment of ACAST and not caring about people who would eat off of the back of that voiceover work, I have more empathy for them for that sake because I saw a graphic of the streaming services CEOs and their wages, and all of them were nine figures.
Astronomical for no reason.
Nine. So yeah, so maybe Netflix as a whole is breaking even, but if you're a good businessman or business person, you are maximizing the profit that you can expense off while showing just barely breaking even for tax purposes. So they're probably still doing it right either way, but it shows up that they made like $600 million or something. Like it was craziness. So like yeah, for it to be like 2% to be able to meet the demands that they're asking for. It's such a small cut of butter. Like if you were trying to take butter, if someone asked you, like, can you do a little butter on that? Like the amount of spread you need in order to divvy off that money to everybody else is so small. It's so small.
No, and I don't disagree with you that at all. I think the royalty system is screwed up.
Yeah, trash.
Um,
Body scan shit, trash.
that scares the shit out of me.
Expound.
Like, well, it's like unless there is my explicit information in a contract that is beneficial to my family that increases with current day inflation. You know what I mean? Like something that if you're going to use my likeness for whatever, it has to one you use my likeness, I get residuals off that period. You have to pay me to use it in the first fucking place. And as time goes, it stays consistent with the Times money.
Gotcha.
That's the only way I can see that ever going. But that's like
I'll tell you where it's going right now, but please continue.
That's like taking that's like making Fast and the Furious 406 and the main villain is Charlie Chaplin.
Yeah.
Wild as hell.
Yeah.
Yeah, what makes
But
sense?
then,
There is no Charlie Chaplin to collect residuals. It's the
right.
estate of the estate of the estate of the estate at this point. So, do you think that, however far down the line, that those people should be able to demand the residuals on work that they didn't even have a part in?
If you are going to use someone's likeness potentially in perpetuity, you should be able to get paid in perpetuity too. Your
Who-
estate should.
But why? They didn't
It
do
should
anything.
just be a part.
It's
Yeah.
not. They didn't. But so that's just an entitlement thing. Like that's a privilege that's extended to the rich.
Yeah. Oh, I was going to say that's the same thing as uh, passing your inheritance down. You're an heiress or an heir, and
No,
then
that's a whole different thing. That's higher. That's a whole different thing. I'm talking about just regular folks with money passing something down to another person, which is usually set up in real estate or it's some kind of tangible thing outside of finances, crypto or investing. So like the idea that you can have money and then 4 or 5 generations down the road you're still getting residuals off of that, but then you feel like entitled in a way about how you receive your money, even though you had nothing to do with how you're getting that money. Because for the sake of Charlie Chaplin, that's an iconic figure who's and how far down the bloodline does that go? Because in terms of marriage and so can you marry into that money? Like how does that work?
I mean, I'd hope so.
Like, yeah, exactly. So those lines get on and messy. So that's a slippery slope right there. So that sounds a little bit egregious, but I'll tell you where that's going on currently and where it will not stop going on is NCAA sports. Everything you're talking about now, the likeness, being able to set the terms on how they're paid, how their family benefits from it. None of these college players for the history of the NCAA have had that, even until recently. Even with the little transfer window or whatever that allows them to make money on the side in a different capacity. All of that is so the NCAA does not have to pay them. So someone else is paying them, and they're just agreeing to allow them to be paid, which was on the back end of Reggie Bush or insert profound athlete who tried to monetize their likeness simply being a popular person on campus. They would get in trouble. They could lose their scholarship by signing an autograph, dude, by getting paid to do that. And so the idea that you're talking about studios copying pasting your likeness for the sake of monetary gain, all of the NCAA sports, all of the video game consoles, all of that stuff, those people made money hand over fist on the likeness of these players. And up until recently, it had to go all the way to the Supreme Court just to get the ball rolling so that these people could start to get paid. But everyone
Mhm.
else came before them. Capitalism.
Yeah. Well, I think that
So if
I
the
think, in all honesty, I think Reggie Bush should get his Heisman back.
why?
Because what did he do that was wrong?
Made money off himself. Everything you're talking about.
Yeah,
But
I
the
don't think that's wrong at all.
fact the signed contract to play football states that you can't do that. You signed a contract saying you wouldn't do that. You're a union guy, you're a contract guy, so
I'm not a union guy.
I'm sorry, you're not a union guy, but you're a contract guy. So if you signed
Yeah,
that stated that you couldn't get paid for your likeness, you then got paid for your likeness and then got in trouble for it, you're sticking to your principles, right?
that's true.
So Reggie shouldn't get
You're
his
right. You're right.
not only should Reggie not get his trophy back, but anyone who has ever tried to come up on the back of their own name while being in college should be blacklisted. And that that should go into the NFL. That should go into the pros if they were really about that life.
Do you have that same energy towards Pete Rose in the Hall of Fame?
How are the two the same?
Well, because Pete Rose will never get into the Baseball Hall of Fame because of his gambling scandal.
Okay, but we want to make sure we don't conflate gambling with amateur sports.
No, yeah, no. I was just saying in general. I'm not conflating the two. I'm just saying they're two separate issues, but they are both contract violations.
Sure. Yeah. So on the principle
Okay.
of it, he voided his own contract.
There
He
you
he disqualified himself.
go. Okay.
Will he go down as one of the greatest? Was it shortstop?
Yes.
Why do I picture him at shortstop? I'm thinking Ozzy.
No. Yeah, Ozzie Smith was the fucking greatest shortstop to
Yeah,
ever
yeah.
play baseball.
Where was he at?
Shut up, George.
I can picture him running bases. I don't ever see him fielding them.
Yeah, he
Outfield.
smacked the
Outfield. Damn, I'm about to get fact checked online for this one. Anyway, but yeah, Pete Rose was a great athlete,
yeah.
phenomenal.
Outfield, first base, third base.
But
And
yeah,
he was a switch hitter.
But yeah, he a phenomenal talent who bet on himself. Yeah, man, it's the same thing. And whether he used his leverage in the dugout to hedge his own bets. So that's illegal according to the contract he signed. So by those principles, absolutely, one of the greatest baseball players ever should not be qualified to be recognized accordingly because of the contract they signed. So where was discrimination in Colin Kaepernick's situation? Because he can't even get a job, and the NFL has collectively agreed to not allow him to participate on a team as a quarterback. They've publicly said it. So it's like he can't even have a job to compete to accumulate the stats to be considered among whatever talks, right? So he can't even get in the door, dog. So, and we will never know what that check was, what they settled on, but this man is still dedicated to try and be an NFL player, and it's not.
I can't remember. There was a couple wide receivers that were out training with him.
Yeah, no, he's had stars come through. He's had people. Yep. He's had people co-sign. He's put up an ability to be a backup quarterback, bare minimum.
Bare minimum, yeah.
So the idea that they can't, it's. Yep. So they voided their own contract, and they won't even allow him to do another one to say, "Oops, my bad." Because what is he going to do? They're going to put him in a position to get injured. Like, and if he's aging, the NFL likely, and the way that they, especially with the running back situation that's going on right now, like the way that they treat bodies, they should not be hesitant to put Kaepernick back on the field, because the older he gets, the more time that goes by, and the more that he has to play against people who don't agree with him or have bad blood from that circumstance, that increases the likelihood of him getting hurt. And so on the back end of DeMar Hamlin last season, maybe they don't want those extra problems. So they're eliminating the possibility of liability by allowing him to step on the field at all. That's a stance right there, dude. That is a stance. So, holy shit. Oh, man. What else were we going to talk about? You mentioned something else.
Oh, we were going to talk about old DJT.
Oh,
young 45.
Excuse me, Captain. I can't get in trouble enough,
dude.
So is Rudy's news? Is that a distraction from Trump being indicted again? While being the front runner.
They announced it and his polls boosted again.
They're never not going to go up, dude.
Like
they'll literally pay. They're getting paid. Their following is supporting them. Like they've been grifting off them. So all of the defense, all of the people that are talking on their behalf, they get to pay them from their own supporters. So it's a
Yep.
cycle, bro. It's never gonna go away.
Well,
Those parades disappeared though. I'll tell you that much. I ain't seen a Trump parade in
I,
a while.
yeah, I haven't seen my angry redneck.
Out in the sticks, they're not out there either.
Dude, there used to be a cat that rolled around in his big old jacked up lifted truck with 2 Trump flags hanging out the back of his truck. I used to see him every day. I haven't seen that fool in a long time.
Where have all the Trump flags gone? Don't get it.
Well, so my thing is, I wasn't going to vote for fucking Trump anyway. I'm not going to vote for Biden either. But
We're just talking about principles. We're talking about signed contracts. We're talking about law and order. So you break the law. Should you be able to run for president? Should you be able to hold office? Should you be able to get within 500 feet of a school? like
if you are, I'll treat it just like I treated the Rittenhouse trial and the Johnny Depp Amber Heard trial. I made sure to watch all of that shit before I had an opinion on it.
Okay.
If Trump is tried and convicted with all the facts present, no, he shouldn't be able to hold office. Fuck no.
So why should he be able to even run? Like, why is he even in the conversation? Why has he not?
Because
you're not canceled?
Because it goes back into innocent until proven guilty.
No. Behavior. We've seen it all. The dude is like the track record of him. Not first of all, there's 2 things, right? There's one, all of the shit that he's actually done, right? And 2 is his record in court. His record at going after people. His record of falsely accusing.
Cockstrong.
His record of the situation in New York where he put those people's he took out a full-page ad to accuse people who were innocent. You talk about innocent until proven guilty. He is the captain of the opposite of what you're talking about. So keeping that same energy, why should he not be treated the same? Why should he not be in a hole somewhere, incapable of affecting the election?
George is 1,000% on your side. Every point you've made, he's been cheering you on.
How can he hear me? That's what I want to know.
I don't know. He's got that 6th sense. Maybe he can hear you through the headphones because he's got like super ears or some shit.
But yeah, the thing is about this consistency. That's all I'm asking is where does the consistency lie? Because this man has been a habitual line stepper his entire life. His entire life. But yet you're still talking about all of the evidence. What more do you need to see that you haven't already seen, whether it's the insurrection itself or his own words being played back against him in court? The whole
First off, the insurrection didn't go far enough. And
so again, apathy, downplaying it, like all of that stuff, none of that matters because we have literal video evidence of it. So you can flip the narrative however you want, but it's not hard to take a audio snippet of people on the right talking about Black Lives Matter, the Jason Aldean supporters, that whole coalition, putting that audio on top of insurrection footage, and it fits perfectly. Like that's not an accident. So it's like the idea that we see that behavior, we see what Giuliani said, we see the behavior, we hear the grotesque words, we hear just the ew factor. But yet we're supposed to give him the benefit of the doubt because of 9/11. But yet we're still supposed to add up all the stuff that he did prior 30 years ago to all that. That's what we do. Our conditioning is to not trample on people who have made a name for themselves in some part just because they've made a name for themselves. Even though their behavior, if they were just a common folk like us, they would be under the jail right now. So the amount of money that's behind it and the way that they continue to get money on the back end of this fuckery, dog. We need better bad guys. The bad guys aren't even good. Like, they're not even good at what they do,
Yeah.
but they're still able to run for president. Like, that's nuts, dude. How does that comic make sense? How does that movie, if it's made and we watch it in the theater, how are we not destroying that plot apart? How are we not saying, hold on, how is this guy running for president from prison? How does this movie make any sense at all? I can see the YouTube review of that from just a random person. It's hilarious.
So, like, let me backtrack and clarify.
Listen to George.
If he, yeah, if he is tried and convicted and goes to prison, fuck no, he should not be able to run for president.
Those are
Is-
okay. You said a bunch. That's a ifs. If. Let's just live in reality. Let's just take everything for what it's worth on face value. How has he even be able to consider a legitimate contender? Because Gary Johnson, the chick that you voted for, like, those people, they didn't do half of what he did just off top, and they are deemed illegitimate because of their affiliation.
Mhm.
They're not these nuts got more votes than the ladies whose name I can never remember.
Joe Jorgensen.
JJ. So, yeah. I can't. It's difficult for me to talk about principle, to take people for what when people show you who they are and not believing them. I can't bird box.
Mhm.
I can't do that. When you see it, when seeing is believing, and they're showing you the evidence is just adding up, and you're talking about a pattern of behavior, and they're not doing anything to make you switch up and to think, oh, I can't say that because they did this. If that all continues to add up, it's a one-sided. You want to talk about the weight of balance, right? The Law and Order or whatever. It's
Did
like,
you see Forrest Bombing?
I didn't. So it's so one-sided that it's like, you want to talk about. So does that mean that if one thing comes out and they accuse him of it and it's not true, does that mean that it eliminates everything else because the one thing is proven false?
No, all things proven true should be taken within full accountability. My whole boring politicians. My whole thing is everything got so goddamn tribal that people in general have refused to think. And it's caused a tailspin into
No, that's not. We didn't just get here. That is,
no,
we allowed a pattern of behavior to continue, and it has marginalized how we move. It has marginalized how we operate. And so we now can't even trust the sources that were considered trustworthy. So now you can get more credible news on Twitter or X or Threads or whatever than you can, and faster than you can on legitimate news sources. Because we played into the monetization of Trump's antics, of putting him on television 24/7 every time he did anything, let alone every time he messed up, or them simply choosing to ignore it or to be silent when he did something egregious. All of those things has been happening for the last 5-6 years. So we're now conditioned to be like, oh, you can't trust any politician. Oh. So now it's everything is canceled. Everything cannot be deemed credible because we've mushed it all together, because there's been no specificity. Because we've said, oh, well, everybody's gotten this point. No, everyone has chosen. They've made choices over and over and over again that has led us to this point, to where the statement you made is correct, to where people don't try.
I was a John McCain guy during, because President Obama was elected when I was in Iraq the second time.
Okay.
And that was like, because my mindset at the time was we needed someone that knows war because we're in war.
As a war dog.
Yeah, as a guy who's actively in a war.
Fighting for doesn't matter. You're fighting.
Fighting for
You're fighting.
oil rights.
You're fighting.
Oil rights.
WMDs allegedly
Yeah.
at risk.
Dude, at that, so my second pump, we knew that like I was 100% official. The WMD stuff was bullshit. Like,
Still over there getting paid.
yeah,
Still costing taxpayers out their ass. Still feeding into the military industry complex that is now out of control. Yep. So again, it's not we've just gotten here. We have allowed these things to happen over the steady course of action. And then instead of leaning into the truth tellers and the things that are actually real and factual and true, we simply do the revisionist history of it. We do the tribalism that you speak of. We say, nope, I'm going to defend my side at all costs. And so I'm going to just be loudest and the most whatever about it because of, like we talked about a few episodes ago, the personality disorder, right? To where it's like you're now feeding into the psychology of the reward system for your problematic behavior. And social media pays you dopamine hits hand over fist. Just continues to do it. And then it studies your behavior so it can figure out how to optimize that. So yeah, dog, it's not just happening. We're literally feeding into our own discomfort.
Mm-hmm.
So being able to even be considered legitimate when prison is on the table is hilarious. Like, just think about going to try to get a job at like McDonald's. And they're like, okay, so you got a little bit of okay, so you've been out of work for a little bit. What's going on? Oh, well, I've got this trial pending.
Yeah.
You can't make fries, bro. What do you mean? You can't make fries. They'll laugh at you. They'll be like, please just go
do something else.
just go find a grift because you are hireable. Like, that is hilarious, dog. On top of the public persona that this man has. You know how they talk about how it's very important for your social media to be publicly acceptable. So whether you just keep private to yourself so you don't put anything public, or the things that you put public are calculated, if you will. And so, like that dude's ref. Like, you can, like, if I try to get a job somewhere, they tried to Google my name. I'm not sure what they're gonna run into that's bad. But if they do, it'll probably be from the show, from an opinion, from conversation, from context that's out of, that's not taken or that's just ignored or whatever. But like, my reputation in terms of what I've done with other people in public, like, it speaks for itself. And so if someone wants to Google me, they'll have a hard time finding anything on me because I don't put myself out there to be a public figure either. This dude is a public figure. That's his whole thing. And so if you Google this man's name and then tried to hire, so if they tried to hire me and my name came up the way that his results do, dog, you can't get a job.
No.
You can't make fries, man. You can't. So yeah, it is absurd that this is even our reality. Oh, but hey, there was a non-alien pilot or a non-human pilot with biological residue or whatever. Beam me up, Scotty.
Yeah.
Because I'm done with this place. This place is fucking... We are a sundown town for real.
Yeah. You could say, I don't believe that shit either.
This is...
Yeah!
This is aliens driving by us and then looking at the exit sign and going, nope. We'll go to the next one. Because that neighborhood does not look friendly. And then...
You hear George over here giggling?
Yeah, George's giggling. And so it's like... we were talking about that. Did I talk about that last week on here? How they sell alien abductions as propaganda, but it's actually a good time. So just think of like Ibiza or Burning Man. That like spiritual experience. That is what getting beamed up into a UFO is actually, but they have to sell it as nope. They sell it as nope, so that way we don't leave. I talked about that with a person I was helping move. I was like, you know how these complexes, they make everything close and difficult to move in and out, so that way you don't want to leave. You don't ever move. I was like, that's why it's so hard. We need George every time. George is just co-signing all night.
Hey, I can make that happen. If
Hey,
that's what you want,
as long as Forest Mom is on board, I will make sure that it'll happen.
Dude, I can get George a permanent little permanent bird cage over here. He'll sit over my shoulder and just let you know what's up.
Have a little dick perch. You got a cock cage over your shoulder. All right.
Oh, hey, I'll have to show you. I'll have to show you these fluff balls that Brick got.
Okay.
The Silkies. Sorry, total.
Yeah.
ADHD derail there.
Hey yo. Oh man. All right, sir. We're at just over an hour.
We did it.
Let's talk about. We got political for a second, and again, I want to make sure that we always talk about this. How neither of us are choosing either side. We just are having a discussion on the facts of it.
No.
So whether you want to paint us in a picture or try and label us one or the other, neither of us are either. So good luck with that. Also, I want to give a quick shout out to Agave Indoor Golf Club. I just joined the spot.
Ooh.
It is off of Germain, just north of the Chandler Airport. Met the owner last week, went there yesterday, signed up, going back there tomorrow with my group from BNI. Gonna check it out with them, have a little foursome. That sounds weird. Let me say that again. We have a tea time scheduled, so gonna use that as a meeting space for myself, but it is very cool on top of the fact that it's indoors while it's brutal outside. So give a shout out to Jeff. Jeff Nelson is the owner over there, and yeah, very cool idea. Wish him the best, and yeah, that's it. That's all for me.
Well, say goodnight, George.
Your size tonight. What do I got to say to get
Okay.
George? Whoop whoop. What is? I don't know how to speak chicken.
Now he's like, no, they want me to make noise. Fuck them.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
No, it's been another week of chaos here at the Howard House, and I would like to thank DJ Swirl and Bye to Bye Studios once again for my little escape, my little break from reality. We haven't talked about sobriety in a hot minute on the Sober Show.
I have not.
But
doesn't all of this affect your sobriety in one way or another?
Oh yeah.
So I don't feel like we have to like say in sober news, you know what I mean? Like to do it to where it's like, because everything we're talking about pulls at your mental. And so
Yep.
the idea of ironing out our thoughts, our expectations, our assumptions is healthy in my mind in this space because we frame it that way. We're using it just to talk things out because of the buzzwords, because of the headlines, because of our busy, chaotic lives, that this is a good opportunity for us to talk shit, for us to talk shop, and to show that sobriety is active work. That it's not just about you not drinking.
I've been pushed to my limits a couple times. Like I almost ran away. Like last Thursday? Like
Text me?
Huh?
Was that the same day you text me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, I was.
You were in you had a moment for sure,
dude. I was about to say fuck it and go on the road and see what the hell happened. Like.
So what was the tipping point, or was it just the combo?
I'm sure I can say this. So my wife is currently in a custody dispute with the courts involving her ex-husband and the father of the 3 stepkids.
We've spoke on that before, for sure.
Right. Her lawyer that she hired at the suggestion of her friend dropped the ball multiple times. So there was the stress level already associated with everything, and then on top of, my wife found out through her ex-husband, hey, are you going to sign this paperwork because it's due at the court today? Even though she was unaware of a ruling that came out a few days before that because her lawyer didn't fill her in.
Yeah.
So she fired that bitch. But I'm sure once everything's all said and done, I'll be able to speak on it more. But holy fuck, man. Like, it's just been a real stressful, hard mess around here, to be blunt. It's been mentally and spiritually hard around this place. And then it's we can't talk to the big kids about anything according to this court order. So we're not even supposed to bring up their dads to them.
Not awkward at all.
So if they say something like, well, I have to do this over at dad's, we just have to go, oh. Did you see the sun came up today? You know, like,
Yeah.
There's a, the burden is quite grande.
So what do you need now? What's the next step? How can I help? Do I
Dude,
should I dip into my BNI resources and try and find family law help?
I mean, sure, if there is one.
Well, like, I mean,
Because
there's 1,600 members in Arizona. I'm assuming there's a few family law practitioners.
but that's something that I'll have to talk with my wife over, because there's other details that I can't give out yet involving that on a live show. So
Sure.
we'll talk off the air. And yeah, man, it's just been
On top of the kids, on top of school coming back, on top of your rooster situation.
Ruth's situation. Ruth is starting school again tomorrow.
I'm talking about the animals, and we have sobriety. Yeah, so I think that they're the ones who. Maybe that's because are they positive on your sobriety?
Dude, taking care of the birds has been the best thing for me.
So then technically you have been, because you've been speaking on your birds early and often on the shows. Between the duck, between the dog, between this rooster, the last rooster, like, pretty sure the last few episodes have been entitled regarding so yeah, man. Whether we are breaking it down and saying, here's our sober moment of the day, and talking about how messing with your ducks and your chill ass rooster helps your mental, like, that's sobriety, right? That's leading. That's something that you are using in your daily life. That's allowing you to find balance, to where you're not trying to take off and disappear and see what happens. You know what I mean? Like, gotta give your ducks credit for that.
Yeah.
Give the rooster whose head is no longer part of his body, give him credit for that, because even though that was another traumatizing situation, like, that's a core memory.
Well, it's gonna be a core memory for freaking Marley, that's for sure. Did I tell you how Marley ended up coming with us to the fiasco? So Marley, no matter, wakes up at like 5, and it just doesn't matter. And then on the weekends, I try, and at least one of those days, I try and let Brett sleep in as long as possible. So I was already up and I was getting wired up, and Marley's already like awake, like, where are you going? Well, we gotta go to the farm. She goes, I come with you. Yeah, shit. Okay. So I mean, we get out to the farm at like 5:45. So Derek and Kayla are both still asleep. So I can't just like send her inside and like, go sit with that Kayla, you know. So when it was coming down to things, I'd be like, Wyatt, close her eyes. Like, cover her eyes. And she's like, I'm 2, impossible to catch me. Pew, pew. And so.
Fun times.
And so I get this rooster's head off. And I hear, whoa, that's blood.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I turn, I look at her, she's just going, just like a, yeah, whatever.
So,
I'm 2. I don't know exactly what happened.
so is this like Dexter vibes or?
No, it's more of like, this is what it is kind of things. Like, this is, oh, because she knows, she's 2, but she knows, like, sometimes you get boo-boos that bleed. And sometimes, she knows that the other duck died and had to get buried, kind of thing. The other duck to get buried, she went right to the trash can. But yeah, I thought I saw that as more of a, maybe she'll be more connected and understand what food is thing.
That's
So
one.
I try and bring the kids around how I'm working as often as possible. So
I'm pretty happy that I don't have to deal with any blood and guts with a girl because they're pretty empathetic.
hey man, if they want to come with me
Oh
when
no,
it's time to rotate the stock.
they want to sleep in their own beds again. No way, dude.
So definitely send the invite. Like,
And it's not even so. Rylan, she's been watching our shows with us, and to an extent, if there's shows that are like sexual or language, then she's not allowed. But if it's like Y7 or it's PG-13 or whatever,
yeah,
say bad words or suggestions or whatever, then it's like close your eyes, blah blah blah. But for the most part, she does and she follows along, and she's very intuitive. She's very thoughtful, and so she's putting stuff together. And yeah, she asked Colleen the other day. She was like, "Mommy, what's sex?" So that's already happened. And my 5-year-old, I don't think there's any need for that conversation yet, but it'll come out of nowhere the same way. But yeah, man. But in terms of blood and guts, she watches like medical shows or like the cop dramas or whatever, so she sees people die and blood and stuff like that. But I'm pretty sure if it was in person, she would have a very different reaction to it. And it wouldn't be, blood. It would be,
whoa, that's blood.
it would be, for sure. It'd be traumatizing.
So what you're saying is,
What I'm saying is, Jake, this is on public record. That's all I'm saying.
well, you don't want old Uncle Jake to scare the kids.
My lack of consent is being thoroughly pronounced right now.
Well, you want to come with me?
I mean, I'll go for the experience, but I'm not gonna make a habit of it. Sure.
Get you some eggs, and then you can. I'll send you and Colleen home. I'll send you home with a couple of fresh chickens.
Oh,
Put in your freezer.
No. Like, we don't need any. We have a hard time eating the stuff we have here. We need to work on our own freezer box. Clear that out because there's some stuff in there that I don't know what it is, but I don't know. She put it away or her parents did, but it's been there for some time, and so there's no need to add to that. There's no need. So I appreciate the offer, though. Thank you.
Hey, man, share it when you got it.
You're right. Eggs is a different story. I'll take some eggs for sure. I'll pay you for some eggs. But
well, once these other freaking yahoos start laying, there's they're only dropping like 4 a day now, and I've got like 10 hens out there that should be laying.
Well, they've had all this
Then-
chicken drama, man.
Huh?
I said they've had all this chicken drama.
Yeah. Well, so then my duck, she drops an egg a day. I'll save you a couple of those.
So what? So what's so duck eggs?
Yeah.
I don't think you should, man. I don't know what to do with a duck egg.
You cook it just like an egg.
Nah, it's not
Yeah.
just a duck egg. It's different.
Yeah. They're delicious.
I will come over and I'll have you cook me duck eggs. I will not try to do that myself first. That sounds like a
Sure.
bad.
You want an omelet? You want them scrambled? You want what do you want? I'll hook you up.
I hear that. We'll do that on your stomping grounds when I come out there
All right, brother.
sooner than later.
Anytime. Well, that's it. I gotta talk to Ryan about some shit. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for listening to the Sober Swole podcast. My name is Jake Howard.
Go by DJ Swirl.
And vanilla swirl.
Bye.
Fucking bullshit! Hey, it's Warhorse. Do you want your workouts to look like this? Or do you want your workouts to slay? When Warhorse picks his pre-workout, he wants it to slay. If you want second place, go with somebody else. If you want to be a champion, go with Royalty Nutrition.